Hello and welcome back to History Talk. Today we're going to be looking at union or self-government. What the nationalists think. Let's head in. Hello and welcome back to History Talk. So today we're going to be talking about why, while the Unionist Party has, it wants to maintain a union with Britain, using its close links into Orange Order, it is able to, have a high enough place in the British government, send people to the Lords, and of course, they use the Orange Order to try and get Protestant voters to, start to get into support Unionist candidates, rather than just general candidates who they'd support, on their actual policies. But what about the Nationalists? See, the Nationalists were people who felt that Ireland would be better off if it was outside the United Kingdom. They had three main reasons why this was the case. You had ethnic identity. Many Nationalists in the early 1900s believed that they were part of the Gaelic or Celtic race that lived in Ireland before the English conquered it. That was kind of wrong, actually. There is, of course, as I said before, there's no such thing as race. There is one human race, and then it ends there. So sorry if that bursts anyone's bubble. If you think you're part of a race, but you're not. There's one human race. There are, nationalism, and there's all these. You can be part of a group, but biologically, you're not part of a race. So that was wrong, of course. Although, while some people call it a mix of races, that is also untrue. Because at this time, it's more your heritage. Because your heritage can trace back to the Gaelic groups, the Normans, the English, the Scots, and all sorts of things that had settled in Ireland over the centuries. But they still believed. Some people still believe, even though they accept that the Gaelics and Normans and English and Scots had settled there, and that there was a mixture of people there, they still can't accept sometimes that there is actually no races. So they call it a mix of races, which is false as well. But at this time, they were firmly in belief of racial identity, and they were wrong. So this made them feel like they were English, not British, and they felt that they would be in a better place as Irish people, not British people, if they were the people who were in charge. Now, most nationalists were not Protestant; they were Catholic. They are made up of 75% of the population, and they did not feel comfortable in the predominantly Protestant United Kingdom, with its established Protestant churches and Protestant monarch. They believed it discriminated against them in jobs and things like education. If Ireland had its own parliament, Catholics would be in the majority, and they could run things to suit themselves. One point here, of course, is this. I would not say that the English discriminated against them because they're Catholic. I'd say the English discriminated against them because they weren't English. So later on, you'll see that they'll discriminate against them. What happens is the English will pick the Protestant person over the Catholic person. But they'll always pick the English person over the Irish person, or over the Indian person, or over the Canadian person, or over anyone who they try to control. So, there you have it. So then you have the old economic and social conditions. You see, outside East Ulster, the Irish economy had declined since the Union. In 1900, there were fewer industrial jobs than in 1800. There were fewer, even though there were far more in England, and there were far more in Ulster. This, along with a famine, poverty, and immigration, had caused the population to fall from 8 million to 4.3 million. So this is while other countries' populations are expanding, this population has dropped. And more than that though, the famine is caused by the English taking food from Ireland. By using Ireland as this sort of farm, they are not allowing Ireland to progress industrially, because England already has all their in 1800 England has all their industrial factories. England has workers to build factories. England has all of these factories they need. They don't need factories in Ireland. They need farms in Ireland. They need all these general just foods in Ireland so that they can turn fields into housing estates and factories. Because if you come to London, you will generally not find just a field in London with cows in it, unless it's like designated like a city farm or something. You don't generally will not find a farmer in London. Who's actually farming in London. So it's sort of evident that that's the situation you have now. This makes nationalists feel that if they could manage Irish economic and social affairs, they would do it better than Britain had, and wanted to have the chance to do so. Now, of course, you could argue, well, that doesn't really mean anything. Britain doesn't care about economic factors in Ireland. They just want to, control other countries. So, obviously, you could argue, well, yeah, you won't necessarily be good at it. It's just the British are quite, bad at it. Except for their own country. In their own country, they're good enough anyway. So, all nationalists agree that Ireland should have a self-government. This means that Irish people, not British people, would make the important decision about laws, taxation, police, education, and the economy, all of which affected the lives of the people in Ireland. But then becomes the division. Because the question has to be asked, how would Ireland get the self-government? England is an empire that likes to come into the little guy's country, crush it, and take over, and then if there's any sort of rebellion, crush that. And not listen to the people, because it's not really in their best interest. Because unless you can come to Britain and actually harm Britain, then at this time they're not going to care. If you blow up your own country, why would Britain care that you didn't blow up Big Ben? You didn't do anything like that. So why would Britain care? So it's this sort of thing. But at this time, it tends to divide people. And then comes the question of, should Britain continue to have any influence in Ireland after you achieve the self-government? Now, this divides nationalists, and it really, unlike unionists who are, have a basic enough stance, which is just no. And you'll see this with a lot of kind of groups in countries, is that all they have to do is say no. Because they aren't trying to achieve something, they're just trying to stop something. And as long as they've got enough power, then there isn't really that much difficulty in just saying no. That's what the unions have to do. The unions have to say no. Home rule? No. Entire Irish freedom? No. Semi-self-government? No. No. That's all you need to say if you're a unionist. Now, obviously, you might say, oh, this thing, fine. But then the people at the head will go, no. And that's the point. All you need to say is say no. But if you're nationalist, that's different. Suddenly nationalists go, oh, you want home rule? Yeah. Self-government? Yeah. Semi-control? Yeah. Full control? Yeah. But all these other people down the line. Because that's the problem. Because it's not, and then you have the issue of people that don't settle for something, which is a problem, which if Ireland faces for many years to come, which is people cannot face the fact that they can't reconcile themselves to accept a compromise. So if England says, okay, we'll give you home rule, they're asking for more, and they won't accept this thing. And you'll see this with the IRA in Northern Ireland. The IRA were, and Sinn Féin were against, allowing this sort of, allowing the Sunday Deal agreement to happen, Which is weird because the legal agreement is inclusive. But yet, because it's not as much as they want, because it's not what they want, because it doesn't do enough, they refuse it. Which is weird because you think, well, it's a stepping stone. But obviously, I guess you could argue, if you admit, if you give in to a compromise, they might just say, well, no, we gave you that. That's enough. But if you don't, but then, of course, you gotta agree, if you don't give in to compromise, then you might just say, fuck you. No, we're just not going to have anything then. Tough. Well, whatever you think, you can find out in the next video. We'll be talking about the different opinions of moderate nationalists and more kind of stronger nationalists. So we'll be talking about that in the next video. Please do join us then. And please do view other videos and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Because, as I've said before, and I say every time, it helps. It does. You can help someone for free today. A YouTuber. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so please, if you're not coming back next time or seeing our other videos, then I guess bye forever then. I will, bye bye.